And it is so funny. And she bursts out laughing, and her laughter in that moment is just so delightful. And his face of just like, fuck, I almost had the last word.
Yeah.
5, 6, 7, 8.
There's no business like show business.
Mamma mia, here I go again. My
Of the music
Anna,
Grace-icle.
happy season 2 finale.
Happy season 2 finale!
Woo!
Episode, 52?
52.
Happy season 2 finale.
And honestly, love this movie. So happy. Made me smile. One of my favorites.
Oh, welcome to the podcast. If you are new, welcome. If you're an old timer like us, welcome back. This is 5678, a movie musical podcast where we review and recap movie musicals. And this week, our season 2 finale, the 1952 classic, Singin' in the Rain. Not singing, singin'.
Singin'.
There's not a G to be found.
No, not a single G in that entire title.
That's not true. Sing.
Incorrect.
There is a single G.
One G, one less G than you might think.
I forgot that it opens with like a very silly sound, like teaser Singin' in the Rain blurb.
Well, it's so interesting because that was supposed to be a full number. That song was supposed to be the three of them, and then they ended up cutting it and making it into the classic Gene Kelley dance that we know now. But we're getting ahead. I love this movie.
This is a classic for a reason.
Classic for a reason. The amount of joy that just like oozes out of my pores watching this movie. I can't stop smiling. It's like a solid, an hour 40 of me just grinning like a maniac and laughing out loud.
All right. As I said, we open with a little quick bite of our 3 stars in those classic yellow raincoats. We get a classic title sequence. It's Gene Kelley, Debbie Reynolds, and Donald O'Connor in Singin' in the Rain. Then we cut to the Hollywood Chinese Theater in Los Angeles. It is 1927, and we are at the premiere of the silent film The Royal Rascal, starring Don Lockwood and Lena Lamont.
So we get our entrance of all of the celebrities down the red carpet.
In their limousines.
The best one is the Spider-Woman.
The Spider-Woman?
Oh!
I love her.
God.
I just need more
She
of
had
her.
big grandmama, it's me, Anastasia energy.
Oh, 100%.
Of just like, she showed up with like this black coat over her shoulder and then immediately just lets it fall to the floor and you see the entire green interior and then she just drags it behind her as she walks down the queen. Amazing. We also see Zelda, who is played by Rita Moreno.
Yeah.
Oh, bless her. She shows up everywhere, and I love it.
She truly does. I don't. How old was she in this? Because
she was quite young.
Debbie Reynolds was only 19, I think.
I'm not sure. I didn't look up how old she was.
The entire red carpet is being narrated by a single reporter, older woman, and that's how we...
Big Mary Sunshine energy.
Yes, and this is how we learn the names of everyone. First major player to enter the red carpet is Cosmo Brown, played by Donald O'Connor, and the crowd gets super excited, but then they get disappointed because it's just him, and we learn him. It's just him. He is Don Lockwood, played by Gene Kelley. He's his best friend. Don Lockwood is the leading man that all the girls are there to see, and then they're like, oh, if Cosmo's here, Don's here. Oh, wait, Don's not here. Oh, I don't care.
Never mind. And I'm just like, oh, poor Donald O'Connor.
Yeah.
So finally, eventually, we get Don Lockwood arriving, and everyone stands up and cheers, and like fans are trying to get at him, and he's there with his co-star, Lena Lamont.
Blonde Hollywood starlet. We haven't heard her talk yet. They're both just oozing charm, like glamour and celebrity.
And so they get up to this reporter who's like, will you tell me a little bit about your backstory, about how this amazing pairing came to be? And so
I was like, now?
Don,
Here?
Now? We have so little time. But so he starts to like give a version of his life by starting saying that he's always just followed his motto, dignity.
Dignity,
always
always dignity.
And then we get to see, as he's telling this like glamorized version of how his life went, we see what actually happened, and it's like this great contrast of just like, oh yes, I was brought up on the finest theater, and we see him sneaking into like King Kong movies at like age 5 and like hoofing in a bar, and like, so obviously his life has been rewritten for audiences to make it seem like he is more glamorous, or had more glamorous of an upbringing than he actually did. Through this, we also get our first song, which is in a part of this flashback with him and Cosmo on the vaudeville stage, Fit as a Fiddle.
Yes,
which doesn't have a point.
No, it doesn't have a point other than they are just both such fantastic dancers.
Oh my god, the tapping.
At this point, they've established that, like, Cosmo and Don teamed up as a vaudeville act, and that's how they cut their teeth. They've known each other since they were itty-bitties, and it's a fantastic dance. I wrote, gosh, they're such hoofers. And then they get booed by the audience. Who would dare
boo? Okay, first off, the fiddle song, hilarious. So funny.
Oh, classic vaudeville, visual gags.
The tapping that they are doing like single leg. I'm like so overwhelmed by it. And like one of my notes, we are 5 minutes in, it's just gonna get worse.
We are 5 minutes into this film.
They have nothing but muscle on their entire body to be able to pull off some of the moves that they are doing. It is insane.
And the flexibility that they have.
Anyway.
So after they get booed, Don's voiceover tells us they went to California and they were fielding movie offers left and right, aka what they were really doing was they were playing mood music on silent picture sets. Cosmo plays the piano and Don plays the fiddle. And this is where we see Don get his first big break, where he takes over for a stunt man that gets accidentally knocked out. And does such a fantastic job that the director hires him for the rest of the picture, and that really kicks off his career. We see a big montage of him just like doing incredible stunts.
Wild stunts. Man, it's just delightful. We also see
Don meet Lena for the first
and again,
time,
we haven't heard her talk, but he's like, oh, it's so great to meet you. It's so wonderful to be working on a film with you. And she really rebuffs him until just then the head of the studio, RF, comes in and is just like, oh, I've been told that all of our stunt team is just you. You're doing great. I'm going to put you in a lead in a picture with Lena. And immediately, Lena's just like all flirty all of a sudden. And
hello.
Don is hysterical. And it's just like, are you busy tonight? And she like shakes her head no, and he's like, that's funny because I am, and then just walks away.
Yeah, he gives her a taste of her own medicine. I do want to point out, this is a small moment of joy, but it's very consistent. RF talks in the way that like old-timey news reporters talk in my brain. She's like, hey, I hear our entire stunt team has been replaced by one man. Is that you? You're fantastic.
You're fantastic. Get it done.
The Titanic has sunk.
So fantastic. So we also at the end
so Don
of this,
finishes
his story, and
we cut back to present day 1927.
He finishes his story, and they go inside to watch The Royal Rascal at the premiere. Now we see the end of this movie. It is still a silent movie, so all of the dialogue is put up as cards in between.
Like caption cards.
Cards in between, and there's a live orchestra doing the music for this, and then also we get to see sort of Don doing a lot of stunts in this movie.
God bless the actual stuntmen that were in.
Oh my God.
For Gene Kelley.
Him doing a no-handed spring up, like back spring up, first off, while like having two swords in his hand. I was like, that's so hard. Anyway, so the movie ends, uproarious applause, and Don and Lena come out to take a bow. And Don keeps stopping Lena from talking to the audience. So she keeps stepping forward as if she's about to say something, and he interrupts her and pulls her back. And they finally say thank you. Well, he
this
says
happens
thank
3
you.
or 4 times, and then he essentially pushes her off stage.
Yeah.
And then we hear Lena's voice for the first time, and her voice, she has the thickest, most jarring Brooklyn accent. She's like, what's the big idea? It's
what do you think
amazing.
I am, dumb as something?
The people backstage are Don, Cosmo, and RF, the movie producer, who are just like, you know what, Don's gonna make the speeches. We have a whole publicity team.
Yeah.
Now, It was established by the reporter on the red carpet, but there have been romance rumors in the tabloids for months that Don and Lena are romantically linked.
That the studio has been pushing as well. Like, the
Yeah.
studio has been pushing this narrative that they are together, or like hinting at it, but never fully confirming, because it helps to sell their pictures.
Exactly, and it's gone so far that Lena thinks the rumors are true,
Lena has been convinced.
Yeah, where
by
Don's
this
like,
PR
I have
campaign.
never showed you any kind of affection like that. I cannot
Like,
stand
there
you.
is nothing between us, only air.
But the film has a premiere party afterwards, so they all go. Lena goes off separately, but she's like, Don, where are you going?
Donnie! Now, Don and
Cosmo drive after the premiere to the party. However, their car breaks down.
Oh, no.
Or they get a flat tire.
Yeah.
And Don gets out and on the side of the road and immediately is clocked by fans. They're like, hey, that's Don Lockwood. And he is just mobbed.
And, like,
Mobbed.
ripped to
And, like,
shreds.
People, like, trying to, like, take pieces of him, like, ripping his coat. And Cosmo was no help, to the point where Don jumps through the car to another car to the top of a trolley.
Yeah.
And then leaps into the passenger seat of a passing car driven by a woman who understandably freaks the fuck out.
Panics, and he's like, no, don't worry, if you could just like drive a few blocks and drop me off. And she's like, no. And then he's like, don't worry, I'm not like a bad guy. And she's like, yes you are, I've seen you on posters with a bunch of numbers on your chest. And so she pulls over.
She recognizes him, but she doesn't know how she recognizes him.
Exactly.
So she thinks she's seen him on, like,
He's, like,
wanted
a
posters.
villain. Yeah.
And he's all torn up. And so she sees a police officer. She pulls her car over. She's like, police officer, help, this man. He goes, hey, this man's Don Lockwood. And she's like, oh, shoot.
Oops. So he
Don
apologizes and goes to get out.
And he's like, I'm sorry, I was running away from my rabid
I know, and she's like, that's
fans."
awful. Like, I'm heading in this direction. Is there anywhere that I can drop you? And so she agrees to, like, drop him closer to his house so that he can go and change out of his, like, ripped up suit. And while they're driving, he's very used to women sort of falling all over him.
And he's a bit of a schmuck. He's like a bit of an egotistical.
Yeah. Absolutely. And she's not really buying it. And she's just like, well, that's awful that they
Sorry, I'm just imagining the soundbite of, like, Gene Kelley as Don Lockwood. He's a bit of a
schmuck. It's not a no. So she's talking about how, like, oh, it's awful that all of your fans did that to you, and he, like, starts trying to come on to her, so she shuts him down by insulting the fuck out of him. It's so...
Oh, she reads him for
It's disgusting. She was just like, well, but you know, the movie stars, that's not real acting. You're not, like, actually doing anything. You don't have, like, good lines. You're not, like, you're just shadows on film. And
They're pantomime, because this is the era of silent films, whereas she's a serious actress of the stage.
And so he gets very offended and is just like, oh, so glad that I could be here in your great presence. What are you doing right now? And she's like, well, I'm not in anything right now.
Yeah, he calls her bluff. He's like, well, if you're such a great actress, like, what have I seen you in? Like, what are you doing right now?
But so she eventually gets him to his house throughout this entire argument.
She gets him to his house.
And one of my favorite, this is one of my giggles, is he's just like, oh, like, I am too lowly to be around you. And he, like, slams the door, and he doesn't see that his coat gets stuck in the door. He's like, farewell, Ethel Barrymore, I must tear myself from your side. And as he says tear, he steps away, and his entire coat rips in half. And it is so funny. And she bursts out laughing, and her laughter in that moment is just so delightful. And his face of just like, fuck, I almost had the last word.
Cut to the party. We see, actually, Kathy, which is this girl's name. We haven't said her name. Kathy Sheldon.
Yeah.
She introduces herself. She arrives at a party, is a little bit late, and she's checking in. And at first we think she's a guest, but then she's directed to go around the back.
Because she's
just
a part of the
what does that
floor
mean?
show.
She's a part of the floor show. Dawn arrives at the party. First, we see the inside of the party with all the personalities from the red carpet. We're like, oh, this is the premiere party.
The Spider-Woman dancing. She's
direct
perfect.
into camera. She's fantastic.
I love her.
Finally, Dawn arrives having found a new suit, and Cosmo's like, where the fuck were you? But Dawn immediately turns to Cosmo. He's like, do you think I'm a good actor? Cosmo's like, what? Why are you
like,
asking
as long
me
as
this?
I
Like,
work for
Dawn's
this studio, you're the best actor in the world.
So even though he didn't let it show, clearly Kathy's critique of him kind of shook
Yeah.
him a little bit and is making him reevaluate. Yes, he has fans, but is what he is doing
it
really
good?
considered
Yeah.
art?
Then we get to, now that he has arrived, RF is like, finally, you're here. I can show you this thing that I've been working on. So this guy's been coming to my office, and he sets up sort of a movie projector in this party and shows the first sort of iteration of a talking picture.
Yeah, it's like a test talking
So it's a guy's
picture.
voice has been recorded on a record player, and as long as the record player and the movie are started at the correct times, then the sound will sync up, and it's unlike anything anyone has ever seen before. And the people at this party react differently. Some people are like, oh, that's so fun, and some people, like the Spider-Woman, is like, it's vulgar.
It'll never catch
catch
on. It's like a one-trick flash in the pan, one-trick
Exactly.
pony kind of
And of course,
thing.
Cosmo has the best line. It's like, well, that's what they said about the horseless carriage.
Yeah. The guests are unimpressed. I don't know if you said this, but the person who, the studio head RF is the one who is hosting this party, and he's the one that shows
Yes.
it. He also references, he's like, well, you know, their studio is called Monumental Pictures, and I think he says, like, Paramount or
Warner
like some
Brothers,
other
yeah.
competing is gonna produce a full feature film of a talkie. It's called, like, The Jazz Singer or something. Everyone's just like, yeah, that'll be
Yeah,
a success.
okay.
But now that he's done this, he's presented this, he's like, all right, now for the real song and dance. Like, we're all here. Thank you so much for coming to the premiere party of The Royal Rascal. We have a cake. A big cake is brought out, like,
Yep.
wheeled out for Dawn and Lena as a surprise. And then, oh, guess who bursts out of the cake?
Kathy.
It's Kathy in a showgirl outfit. She makes direct
And
eye
her
contact
face
with Dawn.
drops.
He goes, oh, look, it's Ethel Barrymore.
It's my favorite line. I use that line you know how every now and then you're just like, what's like a random line from a movie that you use all the time that no one ever knows? Well, if it isn't Ethel Barrymore,
that?
is one that I use all the time.
But before Kathy can even recover, she's joined by about a dozen other girls in chorus costumes, and they have to perform the song that they've been contracted
Absolutely.
to do, which is...
All I do is dream of you.
It's
Yeah.
hokey and it's
And
cute.
it's supposed to be
all I
like
do is
lighthearted and
all
all of that. It's more of a performance than like an
Yeah.
actual musical theater
It's
song.
a performance for the party. Yeah. No, this is not. This is a performance
But
within the context
Dawn
of the
is
film.
delighted by this. One, he keeps trying to tease her about this and interrupt her, but then once she actually starts, he's kind of charmed by her performance and how fantastic she is. Now, the song ends, and she's just about to leave, but he runs and catches her, and is...
He gets her.
And he's just like, well, you know, now that I know where you live, I want to walk you home, talking about the cake. And she's really pissed about this and really embarrassed. And so she like picks
Yeah.
up a cake and she's like, well, here's one thing I learned from the movies, and goes to throw it at Dawn. Dawn ducks, and it hits Lena Lamont full in the face.
Oh, it's so
It's
good.
such a good moment. Oh, stunning.
And Lena freaks out. Kathy escapes in the pandemonium, and Dawn runs after her, but she fully drives off
Yeah,
in her
fuck
costume
it.
still and escapes. And we see Dawn alone on the driveway, just so smitten. So
It's
smitten.
like anyone who throws a cake into that dastardly woman's face is the love of my life.
Has won my heart. Cut to our next scene. Dawn is walking around the soundstage at Monumental Pictures, and in the background we see 3 simultaneous films being shot, because again, they're
So
all
you
silent
can.
films, so it doesn't matter that there's... Yeah, exactly.
He's starting a new movie.
Yes, Cosmo comes up, and it's the first day on set for their new movie. Cosmo is playing music.
Yeah, he's
for
like head of
it?
the music department.
He's not the head of
Oh,
the
that
music
happens
department
later,
yet.
yeah.
He will be later. But the film is about the French Revolution. It's been 3 weeks since the party, and we learn this because Don says he can't stop thinking about what Kathy said to him, and Cosmo's like, that was 3 weeks
Right.
ago. You're still
Well, we
thinking about
also
that girl?
hear about like that she lost her job at the like with that
Yes.
company, so he can't find her because she's no longer employed there. So he's just been thinking about her and like can't get her out of his mind.
And he feels guilty
Yeah.
that she may have lost her job because of him
He doesn't
or
really
whatever.
know what happened. Yeah.
Cosmo tries to cheer him up by singing. Ah, the classic song. I made Mike like take out his headphones, being like, "You need to watch this."
This is what dance can be. Make him laugh.
It's called "Make 'Em Laugh."
Now, I have so many notes about this song. The song was written specifically for Donald O'Connor because Gene Kelley was like, he doesn't have a solo number. He needs a solo number. And Gene Kelley worked with...
That's a good friend. That's a good pal.
Gene Kelley worked with Donald O'Connor to go through basically all of his old vaudeville gags and, like, visual jokes. And basically they choreographed it together into, like, one big amalgamation of everything that Donald O'Connor could do. So it really is, like, just for him. And he fucking kills it.
Yeah, it's to showcase his dancing talent, his vaudeville talent, his slapstick comment, his singing,
but
his acting.
He also kills
so good.
himself. After he filmed this, he went to the hospital for 3 days.
Yeah.
And then he came back and they were like, actually, the camera was foggy. We need to do it again.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So he did the entire thing.
Oh, no.
It destroyed him because this was a concrete soundstage. So you think of all of the times he's throwing himself to the floor. That's on concrete.
Why? Why didn't they put something down for
Because
him?
this was a bad working environment. So and he's also smoking like 4 packs of cigarettes a day. Like he was not in a healthy spot.
Yeah.
And so he ended up going to the hospital after the first time for like 3 days for exhaustion and like bruises all over his entire body. And then he gets back and they're like, the footage is not usable. We need you to do it again.
Was he okay after the second time, or did he have to go back
I
to
don't
the hospital?
know. I don't
for,
know.
like...
God,
Yeah.
fucking awful. The fact that it's a concrete, like, so
That
watching
sucks.
that particular song, knowing that the floor is concrete really changes it, because you're just like, oh babe, you are hurting yourself so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's real rough. But not knowing it and watching it,
God, he sells
he
it.
Fucking
He
sells
sells
it. There's a whole moment with a mannequin that is just a moment of joy for me, where he just flirts with this mannequin, and I'm just like, why is this adorable? The whole thing is so
brings
funny.
me such
It's
joy.
so funny, and he's so athletic.
Does it move the plot forward?
Not at all.
No, but it is a true blue musical song. And I'd rather watch this than the Broadway medley.
Oh no, I fucking love the Broadway medley. We'll get there.
I could not give less.
Sid
of a shit
Charisse,
about
I
the Broadway
can't.
medley.
Anyway.
Like, I can appreciate the dancing in it. That doesn't mean I think it's a good use of my time. Anyway, they start filming. They start filming. Lena and Don come onto set, and they're
so
like,
honestly,
full
it just looks
French
like the
Revolution.
same thing
No,
that they
it's
just
not.
did.
It's not the Royal Rascal. It's this is called
the Dueling Cavalier. Sorry.
Cavalier.
Yeah.
The Royal Rascal was the first one. Yes, this film is called The Dueling Cavalier. They are in French Revolution, like finery. Yes. Talk about a hoop skirt.
Talk about a wig.
And I think one of my moments of joy
is this scene.
Is this scene, because Dawn cannot stand Lena and she cannot take a hint. And because it's a silent film, they're not recording any of the dialogue. So they are acting like they are so excited to see each other. And every other word from Dawn is like, I cannot abide you. You make me disgust. You make me sick.
Right before they start filming, Lena reveals that she
was
the
this
one who got Kathy fired from her job because she hit her in the face with a pie.
Yeah, she's jealous.
She was jealous of Dawn's attention towards her. And so Dawn is furious, and the director's like, and action. And so
you love
each other. And so they have just like, their faces are just so in love, and he's just like, you are just such a horrible woman. How dare you get her fired?
And she's like, that woman was beneath you.
It's just like, I want to break every bone in your body. You and who else, you big lummox? And then he like kisses her.
Oh, it's so funny.
And so the scene ends. They finish filming that scene and they're like, great, it was amazing. And just then RF, the head of the studio, comes in and he was like, shut everything down. Turns out that
we have a problem.
So the jazz singer had been released a couple of weeks ago, and it was a huge hit. It blew audiences
like,
away.
Why haven't we been doing this? And now audiences won't accept silent pictures.
So every studio is updating everything to make a talking film, and so they're like, we're going to turn the Dueling Cavalier into a talking picture. And RF has a great line. He's like, just think about it. Dawn and Lena, they talk. And then we hear Lena's voice, well, of course we talk. And then their faces just drop.
And then we get my favorite transition, which is newspapers telling us plot development. Not Bubbles.
Almost as good as Bubbles, but it's secondary. It's the second best.
It's a montage of talking films getting more and more popular and audiences just clamoring for them.
And then we get our, like, next useless song, which is so dumb, but every costume that they show is something that I want in my closet.
Okay, so cut to a sound stage. We see RF and a couple other folks, including Rita Moreno as Zelda, watching a filming live with music, so a talkie, of what I thought was like a musical act, but I actually think it's an ad for a department store.
Maybe?
It's one crooner surrounded by like a dozen chorus girls, one of whom is Kathy, so she hasn't been run out of town yet. The feature of this sequence is the main crooner singer showing all these different women's outfits for different situations, which is why I think, like, is this a magazine almost, but a department store ad? I don't know. It's wild.
Yeah, so I think part of this also was that this was very early in color for film. This movie was 1952. Like, it started in the 40s, but it really came to be in the early 50s. And so I think part of this also, they just wanted something colorful.
They're like, look at what we can do.
Yeah, I mean, kind of. And so I think
it's dumb and it doesn't move the plot forward.
So it is, but it is very fantastical and large and very colorful. So I think that's a part of the reason, is because color had really just ramped in. Like, it was the end of the 40s, early 50s, and this is 1952.
This number is like a montage of every kind of shopping montage in a film, mixed with, like, Welcome to the 60s.
But with no one that we care about. These are all random people. So anyway, this song is useless, but what it does is Cosmo is there, and he sees Kathy, and RF and the director are talking about it, and they're like, Kathy's really, really great. I was thinking about casting her as Zelda's sister in Zelda's next picture.
And Zelda is a minor character. It's Rita Moreno. She's only in, like, a couple scenes. She was supposed to have a bigger part. It got cut. But that's why she's there, because we were like, hey, who, in case the audience is like, who's Zelda? That's Zelda. Right there.
Yeah, exactly. But during this conversation, Cosmo recognizes her and then runs to tell Dawn. So the song finishes and Dawn runs on set and is like, Kathy, I've been looking for you. And Kathy is just like, shit, now they're gonna know that I was the girl who hit Lena in the face with a pie. I'm gonna be fired again.
I'm never gonna work in this town again.
And RF is just like, oh, well, I was actually gonna cast her in this one thing, but if it's gonna make you angry. And Dawn is like, no, like, I'm really happy to have her working there. And he's like, cool, then just don't tell Lena.
That's the subtitle of this film. All right, that's fine with me. Don't tell Lena.
And then Cosmo's about to leave, and he was like, I'm so glad we found you. We've been looking inside every cake in town.
Every cake in the town. Oh, it's my favorite line.
Honestly, I love Donald O'Connor. He has the best one-liners in this entire movie. Every single one is a moment of joy.
After this scene, Dawn and Kathy leave this soundstage but kind of walk around the general soundstage, just like talking and flirting and getting to know each other better. Dawn reveals to Kathy that despite what the tabloids say, he and Lena are not romantically involved. He can't stand Lena. And Kathy accidentally reveals that she's read several of the fan magazines that he's referring to.
And seen, like, all of his movies.
And, where she had fully lied and been like, I think I saw one of your films once. So she knows who he is, and she's seen his films. And she apologizes for being so mean to him when they first met. And he goes, no, I deserved it. That is okay with me. And he says he hasn't been able to think about anyone else since he met her. And then he takes her to a secondary location to tell her. So he's like, I want to tell you something. I got to tell you how I feel, but like this random isn't going to do it. I need to take you to like a place that is as decadent as I feel so I can explain to you the scope of my emotion for you. But he takes her to an empty soundstage, and I was just like,
cool.
You never go to a secondary location with a man you don't know.
Amazing. So, and then
it takes her to by themselves to an empty
I know. Well, and I love that there's a sign that says, do not open this door. And then he just opens the door and walks in. Then we have our first song that really kind of moves the plot forward, which is You Were Meant for Me. So this is Dawn telling Kathy, like, I'm so in love with you and I'm meant for you, you're meant for me. And they have this gorgeous dance together.
He fully sets the stage by which he turns on all the lights, he turns on the wind machine, he makes it as romantic as possible.
Exactly. God, the dance. He does this lift at the end where her forearms are sort of on his shoulders. And like what you would normally see is you would see a full lift so that elbows are locked and the shoulders are locked so that you can support. This motherfucker that's made of steel does a partial lift and holds her up with bent elbows, which means that everything is like in his biceps and upper back, like nothing. Now, I'm sure that Debbie Reynolds weighed like 110 pounds during this movie, but like still holding that in that position, so slowly moving her around and then slowly, like, man, this man was made of steel. It's wild. Anyway, we have this lovely, beautiful song. They dance together.
I also left a note of myself, just like, it's set in 1927. I hate this dress style, and it's there's not fitted at your waist. There's like a band around your hips, and unless you were literally stick thin, it just doesn't
flatter
look good.
anyone.
I hate it, and it's all the women wear. Anyway, they dance around the sound
They
stage.
fall in love.
It's pretty. Cut to Lena having a dictation lesson, trying to work through her strong Brooklyn accent. Are you going to say this dictation
I'm going to say that both of them
waiter?
are, but more so the second one.
More so the man. I agree. But Lena's dictation coach is this very like, think of a classic vocal teacher that you had in high school. Yeah. Takes yourself way too seriously. Cut to Don having his own dictation lesson.
Going
He's
fine.
better than Lena. Yeah, it's going fine. Cosmo arrives
And derails the entire lesson.
Oh my god. So Don's teacher is this older white gentleman. Cosmo arrives. They just make fun of the coach and the lessons together. And it just seems like Gene Kelley and Donald O'Connor had such fun making this to the point where I'm like, the dictation coach in this scene is the waiter.
Yes, because he's just trying to do his
goddamn job.
And musical theater decides to stop him. Like, the concept of musical theater destroys this man's job. So he's doing this, and he's talking Gene. He's talking Dawn through a bunch of tongue twisters, things like that. And so we get to one. Moses supposes his toes are roses, but Moses supposes erroneously.
But Moses supposes erroneously. From Moses, he knows his toes are roses, as Moses supposes his toes to be.
Yeah, anyway. But Cosmo hears that and is just like, amazing, and takes over the lesson and starts singing, and we get our next song, which is Moses Supposes, which has no point, but the dancing is so good.
The dancing is so good. I also, this is another Kate destroys a tavern.
Yeah.
Cosmo and Dawn
Kate wrecks a tavern.
destroy this office building. This is a Kate wrecks a tavern moment.
God, so they basically just destroy this office, and this poor man is just thrown around the room.
Just
but
digging
the
around.
dancing is so
dancing.
good, and I'm like vibrating. It's so incredible, and I don't know how else to describe it.
I know, that's the one thing where I'm like, explaining dancing as a medium is hard in an audio exclusive.
Exactly. God, it's so good. Anyway, my homework is going to be to watch this movie, because every time that I got to a new musical number, I was like, oh, maybe this should be my homework. Oh, wait, no, but what about this one? Like,
and we cut to the next day. Dawn and Lena are shooting the first scene that we saw them do in the dueling Cavalier, except now they actually have dialogue. Yeah. It's the scene where Dawn's character like comes down the stairs and professes his love for Lena's character. Here's the thing. Okay. They have, so in that Useless Department Store song, they had a microphone hanging from the ceiling. Yeah. Why did they not have any kind of hanging mic for this situation? Because what they've done is they've hidden a microphone in a bush directly in front of Lena and Dawn so that they can kind of aim their voices towards the microphone. However, this is a concept that goes entirely over Lena's head.
Much.
And she cannot understand that she needs to not move her head so much when she's acting, because she keeps looking at Dawn and then looking away and then looking back at Dawn. But so we get a Doppler effect where we only hear like, oh, I love you. I can never.
Exactly.
And the director of the film is tearing his hair.
Oh my god, this is another waiter. This poor director.
He is another
God, he's
waiter.
trying so hard. Where he's just like, please, just talk into the bush. And Lena's like, well, I can't make love to a bush. And and so they try putting it hiding it in her dress, but it picks up her heartbeat. Like they put it on her shoulder, but then RF comes in and is like, why is there this wire here, and just pulls it, and she goes ass over tea kettle.
So clearly they're having audio
issues. So we cut to the preview for this movie. Kathy shows up with Don and Cosmo, and she's like, okay, I know you have to go sit with Lena and like the rest of them, but I'll like lead the cheering section from the balcony. So she goes off, and so they go to watch this movie, and it is awful. Abysmal. Like,
it is
everything.
Lena's accent it's a disaster. Yeah. Lena's accent is bad. The microphone is bad. You can't hear Dawn at all. Some of the lines are bad because Dawn just rewrote some of the dialogue. And that is a pain point that is never addressed again. And I'm just like, no. He was also bad.
No.
But the worst thing is that the audience is treating it like a comedy when it's supposed to be this romantic, dramatic film, and the audience is cackling at how bad it is. Not because it's good comedy, but because it's bad. Right. Lena's likes it.
This is great. It sounds good and loud.
But there's immediately afterwards, we see our trio of Cosmo, Dawn, Lena, and RF in the lobby, kind of like hiding their faces behind the coats, and we just get line after line of departing audience being like, that was the worst thing I ever saw. I never want to see a Lamont and Lockwood picture ever again. And RF is like, we are fucked.
No. So, cut to Dawn's house. It's pouring rain outside. Lol, they're all drinking milk. That was wild.
White bread sandwiches and milk.
Kathy and Cosmo are trying to cheer up Dawn, but it's not working. He was like, the house will be repossessed by the morning.
Dawn is convinced his career is over.
And Kathy ends up coming up with the idea of like, well, wait a minute, like you have a musical background. What if we turned the Dueling Cavalier into a musical? And
because this preview that they went to tonight, they still have 6 weeks before the film is supposed to be released.
Yes, this is like
nationwide.
A test for audiences.
Yeah, and it went bad. So they have 6 weeks to turn
They're
this
like,
around
what if we rewrote the
into
entire script?
And reshot the entire film.
So they're like, oh, what if we turn it into a musical? And they're just like, this is brilliant, Kathy. Amazing. This must be my lucky day. And we move into the number, Good Morning.
Quick button. They're just actors.
Yeah.
They don't have this power.
No. I thought about that too.
Like, I get it. Don Lockwood is a huge starring name, and he definitely has a lot of clout. But at the end of the day, they don't have that kind of power.
No, but they do have a lot of sway with RF, and RF is, I think, looking for solutions. But I love how they're just like, great, it's decided. Not like, okay, cool, let's figure out how to sell this to RF. Like, so.
Yes. They do that at the end of the song. At the end of the song, they're like, all right, we gotta sell this to RF. But so when they said that, I was just like, okay, good.
But so they have the song, Good Morning.
Good morning. If you know a song from Singin' in the Rain and it's not
Singin' in the Rain, but
it's
probably this one. This one's number 2. And it's so delightful and joyous, and it's just them kind of being a little bit like tired, drunk, and just waltzing around this house, and like this dance number is so good. The tapping is so lovely. It's so silly.
The gist of the song is that they literally talked through the night, because Don's like, all right, I'm gonna wish you good night, and they're like, no, it's 1 in the morning. It is, you can say good morning.
And what a beautiful morning, and it's like pouring down rain.
Yes. Yes, and their hopes have been lifted because they have a plan. I want to put a quick pin in this. Grace, did you pay any attention to the interior decor of Don's house?
Wild.
He has a full suit of armor.
Yes, he does.
I feel like he just like
pulled
things from projects he's
Absolutely.
But who decorated? He has so much money.
So much money.
Which just goes to show money can't buy you taste. It is wild.
So the song ends...
Talk about a bachelor pad.
I know. The song ends with the classic scene of the three of them running up the couch, pushing it over the back, and then falling back laughing. Love it. And then they're just like, oh, this is amazing. What a great idea. Oh, wait. Lena. We forgot about Lena. There was a moment in the premiere that we didn't mention where the sound and the video got out of
Yes.
sync, where it sounded
Out of
like
sync.
Lena was saying yes when she was shaking her head no, and it was like a guy's voice, like the main antagonist of the movie,
Yeah.
whatever. And so like they had
Again, another gag that the audience
Exactly.
loved. But they use this as
Cosmo
inspiration.
is like, wait, I have a brilliant idea. What if we just use Kathy's singing voice and just basically dub all of Lena's lines?
Cosmo invents
Yeah.
dubbing in this moment.
And at first Don is just he's just like, surprise, I have a new concept. And at first Don is like, I think that's a really bad idea because that could really, like, Kathy, this is your career. I don't want to, like, you should get full credit. And she's just like, it's only going to be for this one movie. Like, it'll be fine. And I really want to help you out. And so they all agree that they're going to go to RF in the morning and pitch this idea of turning this movie into a musical and also to use Kathy's voice as Lena's voice for this one picture.
Kathy gives Don a big kiss on the mouth, and then Cosmo feels left out, and she also gives him a kiss on the mouth.
Yeah.
Did you catch that?
Yes, I did.
I couldn't tell if it was a kiss on the mouth or the
I
cheek.
always thought that it was a
Just
kiss
like,
on the cheek,
okay.
but no, she fully just like gives him a peck on the mouth, and I was like,
She just goes,
huh.
"Mwah."
Anyway,
Okay,
cut to
moving on.
Don has taken Kathy home and like in a cab or whatever and says
Yeah,
goodnight to her, and it's still pouring down rain, and then he's so overwhelmed with his love for her that he decides to walk home in the rain, and we get
Singing in the rain.
Ugh.
It never rains like this in California. In Los Angeles, never. Absolutely not.
God, this song gives me so much joy.
So much serotonin.
God, the amount of serotonin. I was telling Anna before we started recording, my favorite moment of this song, it's not even a strong dance number, but it's just Gene Kelley, arms outstretched in front of him with his umbrella, doing just like big wild circles in the street. And it's just, God, it's just so joyous. And like there's a moment where he's just like in the gutter, basically splashing puddles.
I can tell you for sure that water is freezing cold.
Well, this was also whenever he had a fever of 103.
fever. Yeah. Imagine if they were like, the camera was foggy, we need to
Well, it
re-record
took them
this.
3 days to record this. Like, this was
Yeah,
not, like,
yeah,
there's
yeah,
a rumor
yeah.
that this was done in a single take because he was sick. It was not. It was done over 3 days.
Absolutely not.
But
No,
also,
no,
this was
absolutely.
done
These are long
actually
shots, too.
outside at a real street. Like, it looks like a backlot, but this
Really?
is...
I could have sworn
No.
it was a backlot.
Well, everyone thinks that it was because it looks like it, but no, they, like, put tarp down across, like, 2 full blocks and filmed this outside. Yeah.
Wow, that's surprising.
I know.
Cut to RF's office. Cosmo and Don have sold him on the idea of making a musical, but RF is also worried about what Lena's going to think. And they're like, we're just not going to
Don't tell
Lena.
Lena.
But they say, oh, you know what, we need to rename it if it's going to be a musical. And they rename it The Dancing Cavalier. Classic. They also... all 3 of them decide that if they're going to make it a musical, they need to appeal to more audiences by adding a couple modern musical and dance elements to it. So they change the plot around and they make it kind of a play within a play where they set it in modern times where Gene Kelley is, Don Lockwood is playing a young Broadway huffer who is reading Don Quixote backstage, and then a sandbag falls on him, and we go into this, not Don Quixote, but whatever
Three
he's fucking
Musketeers,
reading. I don't know. Three Musketeers, thank you. I was like, Don Quixote is not French. And he, like, it's a dream sequence of the French Revolution.
Exactly.
Then we cut to the recording studio where Kathy is dubbing for Lena.
Yes.
And she's great at it, and Don kisses her, and he tells her that he loves her.
We also see Lena practicing along with the song.
Oh,
because
shit,
that happens
you're right.
later. What
You're
you're
right,
talking
you're
about
right.
happens later. So Lena is practicing.
I misread my own notes.
Lena is practicing along with Kathy's voice, sort of being like, oh, if you just copy this, then, like, you know, it'll work out just fine, just sounds like this, so that she can practice.
So Lena doesn't know she's being dubbed.
No, she just thinks that she's practicing with someone else's voice.
Yeah.
And then that way they, like, are doing a big old switcheroo so that...
Because we see Lena recording the song.
Well, yeah, it's her practicing mouthing along to the words so that the recorded song that they have will match up. It's a bit weird. Anyway, it's a bit confusing how they're setting all of this up.
Yeah. Remember, they're inventing dubbing
as they go. So then we cut to like a final screening for RF only, where RF is like watching this final production of this dubbed song, and he's like, great, amazing, don't tell Lena. Is there anything else we have to film? And then Don and Cosmo are like, there's only one like thing left, and it's a bit of the modern sequence, and it's called Broadway Melody. And we move into the most like not even the most, but like the secondary most useless song. Anna hates this. I fucking love it.
Okay. I hate it doesn't do anything. I can appreciate it for the fantastic dancing. However, I do not care enough that it moves the plot forward to look beyond
it doesn't
that. Does that
it doesn't
make
move the
sense?
plot forward at all. So basically this whole setup is they're showing what they're describing to RF, which is basically like the story of the young hoofer, whatever, getting into business. And then he gets brought to this dance club, and then we get one of the most incredible dance pieces, which is Gene Kelley and Sid Charisse.
Here, it's fantastic. It does not it feels
It's
so
useless.
Not part of this film, because they're setting it as like modern to the 20s, but the entire
It doesn't make sense. None of it makes sense. It's A-okay. But this dancing, this dance with her in the green dress is so hot.
Yes.
It's absurd. I'm also in love with Sid Charisse. Also, she was taller than him. Gene Kelley was a short king, and he was real embarrassed by that. And so if you watch it, all of their dance moves, like they're leaning away from each other, or like she's like bending down, and so all of it makes it look like they're the same height when she was definitely like 1 or 2 inches taller than him, and she was in heels.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Anyway, so this whole sequence happens. There's all of these incredible dance moments. Sid Charisse is amazing, and this movie really punched her career, so she was no longer just a featured dancer. Her next movie after this, she was a main performer. And it ends, yada yada. Honestly, the plot of this doesn't matter, but like the dancing is so fucking phenomenal.
But I said to Grace in the beginning, because it's been a couple years since I saw this film, and as it started, I remembered this dance sequence, but I couldn't remember if it was part of this film, partly because it feels so separate from this film and it's pointless. But when I saw Sid Charisse in the scene within this concept, I was like, oh, I remember this green dress lady. Okay. And then the next scene, which is the scarf scene, when she appeared in the white dress, I was like, oh yeah.
No, they do this whole dance sequence with this huge long scarf that's like ages long, and the wind was so strong that you can see her. Now, Sid Charisse is a trained ballerina. The strength of that scarf with the fan like knocks her off her feet a couple of times. Like, it's really funny. Anyway, so this whole thing happens, and then it ends, and we cut back to them pitching it to,
and we get my
best line.
Favorite line from RF. He's like, is RF, after they pitch it, they're like, what do you think? He goes, I don't know, I just can't visualize it, as if we didn't just see a 6-minute dance sequence of it. But he says like, I'll see it once you filmed it, which is that's not how producers like. You're not gonna be like, yeah, spend all my money and then I'll just make it and then I'll decide if I like it. Like,
exactly.
No.
So then we cut to Kathy finishing up recording all of Lena's dialogue. So she's done the songs and now she's recording the dialogue to sort of match the way that Lena's mouth was moving.
Mm-hmm.
This is when Lena bursts in because...
What's the big idea?
Because Zelda has found out about it and rats out everyone and goes to tell Lena. And this is when...
Zelda said bros before hoes.
Ovaries before broveries.
Yeah.
And so Lena it's revealed to her that Kathy is dubbing over all of her songs and lines. Kathy is getting full credit for being the voice in that. And there's going to be a huge promotion for Kathy after this to like launch her career. And Don reveals that he intends to marry her. And so Lena's just had everything like just snatched away from her.
This is the scene where before Lena arrives, Don tells Kathy he loves her.
Cut to RF's office.
Yes, with 2 marketing executives who are And everyone is confused because on the headline front page of every newspaper in Los Angeles is a big story about what a fantastic singer and actress Lena Lamont is. And the marketing executives are like, RF, you gotta tell us when you're gonna like
prepped for
do
Kathy.
something like this.
What happened?
Yeah, they were prepped to launch Kathy's career, and RF says like, I have no fucking idea what's going on. I didn't okay this. And then Lena walks in being she's like, I okayed it, and here's what's gonna happen.
Because she has in her contract that the studio can't disparage her, and she's interpreting Kathy as her voice as disparagement and detrimental to her career. And so she says, if you tell people that she's my voice, I can sue. She says, I can sue.
And she could like bury the studio in this. Like she has a valid legal like leg to stand on, even though she's being real shitty about it. And so RF's hands are kind of tied. Like they can't do any of the promotional press that they were going to do for Kathy.
They have to take Kathy's name off of the the credits.
Yeah, and Lena threatens to sue RF till he makes sure that no one's ever going to even have heard of Kathy, and Kathy's going to dub Lena's projects for the rest of her career, essentially ensuring Kathy does not have a career of her own, and all the fame goes to Lena.
So we cut to the premiere, and it's a huge success. It's incredible, but at this premiere, this is when Don finds out what Lena has pulled, and he's like, RF, how could you let this happen? You're the head of the studio. And he's like, I don't know, I'm just confused. RF is our goon. RF is big goon energy.
This is all happening backstage at the theater. So the film has just finished. The audience is like uproariously applauding. Don and Lena have gone out to like have a couple bows, and they keep going backstage, and then they keep getting like brought back on stage because the audience like wants to see more of them. Meanwhile, RF is like, I don't know. Don is pissed at RF. Cosmo's there. Kathy's heartbroken as well. Lena reveals that Kathy's going to have to keep dubbing for her, and Kathy says, no, I'm not going to do it. And Lena's like, you have a 5-year contract, honey.
You'll do what they say.
Don refuses to work with the studio if this
goes on, and Lena's just like, I have enough star power on my own. I don't need you. I was a star before you came on the scene.
And just then, Lena's like, and you know what? You've silenced me for too long. You didn't let me give a speech for the Royal Rascal. I'm going to go out and give a speech right now because listen to that. They're cheering for me. So she goes out on stage where there's a microphone and she starts to say, like, ladies and gentlemen, it's such an honor for you all to be here tonight. And the audience listens to her and they're like, that's not what you fucking sounded like in the movie. Yeah. And Lena gets kind of flustered by the fact that they're not positively responding to her, and then someone's like, I don't want to hear you talk. Sing a song.
And so she runs back, and she's like, what do I do? What do I do? And Cosmo has an idea and whispers it to Don and RF, and they both like get these looks on their faces. They're like, okay, go out and sing. Kathy, stand behind the curtain. You're gonna sing. And at first Kathy's like, no, I won't do this. But then
Kathy doesn't want
Don
to.
and RF kind of bully her into doing this, and she's like, fine, I will do this, but Don, I don't ever want to see you again. Yeah. And so she goes out back and they set up a microphone behind this curtain. Lena goes in front of the curtain and it's just like, I'll be singing in the Rain in the key of A flat, which is what Kathy has told her to say. And so Kathy starts to sing and Lena starts to lip sync to Kathy's voice. And backstage, Don, Cosmo, and RF start humming along and then in a line march to the pulleys and just pull open the curtain to reveal the trick.
And the audience bursts into laughter. And Lena doesn't know what's happening. Kathy is overwhelmed and feels like she's the butt of the joke
and doesn't quite know what to do, so she's just still singing and like looking over at RF to see what she should do. Just then Cosmo, just because Lena still is just singing and so's Kathy, Cosmo comes running over and pushes Kathy out of the way and starts singing, so it sounds like a man's voice is coming out of Lena's mouth. And so Lena finally realizes what's going on and panics and runs away. So does Kathy.
Yeah, because she feels like she's been just the butt of a big joke. So she runs down Lena runs away backstage, but Kathy runs down the aisle of the theater, and Dawn runs out on stage. She's like, stop that woman! And the audience, like crowd control, stops her. And Dawn makes this big announcement that woman is the true star of this picture, Kathy Sheldon. She was the voice you heard tonight. Dawn starts to sing.
You are my lucky star.
Kathy tearfully realizes what's going on and joins him on stage. And
they sing this duet together, and then they kiss, and it pulls back, and they're now in front of a new billboard for their new film, Singin' in the Rain, the two of them together.
Yeah, so they're happy, they're in love, they're both successful stars, and Lena was never heard from. It's such a good, they end on such a good old-fashioned face smash kiss. Just like, faces together, no movement, hold it until the director says cut.
And that's the end, y'all.
And that's Singin' in the Rain. When was the last time you watched this film? Do you remember?
Like, within the last 3 years.
Okay.
Honestly, it's this and, like, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang are, like, my joy musicals, where I just, if I'm in a space where I just need to, like, sort of revamp my love for musical theater a little bit, I will watch, like, one of these two, or I'll watch Hairspray, where it's just,
Yeah. Oh, I watched this entire film, which is a big smile on my face.
Because it really captures the joy of musical theater for me, which is big musical numbers, large dancing. There's not dancing in the street in this one.
I was just thinking that. Is there I mean, there's solo dancing in the street.
Right, there is solo dancing in the street, but there's not, like, there's no chorus, really, in this.
No.
Which is interesting.
There's only a chorus in the musical numbers within the show. Within the films.
Yeah, no, this is one of my go-to joy movies where I'm just like, I just need an emotional cleanser of, like, let me just bring joy to the surface, and I will watch this.
Oh yeah, this was a fantastic. A Sunday afternoon, make a pot of tea, put this on. It's gloomy here. It was really nice.
Amazing.
Do you want to do a little dramaturgy?
I do.
Dramaturgy report. Dramaturgy report. Okay, so I made an executive decision. So this was co-directed by Gene Kelley and Stanley Donen. And as we're going to see Gene Kelley again in An American in Paris.
Yeah, I'm really going to focus on, I didn't focus on him this time. I'm going to focus on him in American in Paris.
So this was co-directed by Stanley Donen, who is an American film director and choreographer, whose most celebrated works are, in addition to Singin' in the Rain, On the Town, both of which he co-directed with Gene Kelley. His other films, notable films, include Seven Brides for Seven Brothers, Funny Face, Indiscreet, and Charade. So he worked with Audrey Hepburn a lot. A little bit about his background. He actually began his career in the chorus line on Broadway. Not in a chorus line, but...
worked in the chorus.
Yeah, he worked in the chorus of Pal Joey, which was starring Gene Kelley as a young up-and-comer. So that's how they met, and they remained collaborative partners throughout the rest of his career. Donen moved to Hollywood in 1943 as a choreographer before collaborating with Gene Kelley. Donen is credited with helping the transition of Hollywood musical films from realistic backstage dramas, which we've seen a lot of, like, for example, Kiss Me Kate, or, like, truly anything
No
where
Business
they
Like
were
Show
like, we
Business.
can't imagine, where they the only way to have musical numbers was to make the film about
musical.
a show,
Yeah.
like even White Christmas.
Yeah, exactly.
So he took them from these realistic backstage dramas into a more integrated art form where songs were a natural continuation of the plot of any story, really opening up the options for what could be a musical. So not only were Donen and Kelley able to bring musicals to other plots, they also took advantage of the film medium and did these incredible dances that wouldn't have been achievable on a Broadway stage or on a large stage. They used the film medium to their advantage. Stanley Donen has an incredible legacy. In addition to that, film scholars have coined this use of dance in film, and specifically shooting it in a way that is perfect for it on film, as the concept cinedance, which is a dance that can only be created in the medium of film. And its origins are recognized as these Donen-Kelley collaborative films. So I thought that was really cool. The one thing I did want to point out is that he obviously worked with Gene Kelley a lot. That did not mean that it was like sunshine and rainbows.
Nope.
The importance of the two men's contributions have been debated by critics, of kind of like a chicken or the egg situation of like, where did Gene Kelley's influence end and where did Donen come in? There was a lot of behind-the-scenes gossip of one taking credit for the other's work and vice versa. And even Donen, the director, stated that by the time you hash it through from beginning to end a million times, you can't remember who did what, except in a few instances where you clearly remember getting an idea.
Right.
So that's Stanley Donen. The cinematographer was Harold, aka Hal Rawson, who we've seen before because we saw him in The Wizard of Oz. We saw his work on The Wizard of Oz. He was an American cinematographer who worked in early and classical Hollywood cinema. He had a 52-year career, so he started in the silent films in 1915. But he's best known for his work on The Wizard of Oz and this musical, Singin' in the Rain. And then 2 really fun facts. We've seen his work already outside of Wizard of Oz, because for whatever reason, he's credited with shooting the trolley song in Meet Me in St. Louis.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why it was a separate cinematographer, and I'm gonna look back and like see if I read anything about that then, but he's credited with the trolley song, and then he's also responsible for the burning of Atlanta sequence in Gone with the Wind.
Wild.
Which was the very first thing that they
Yes.
shot. And I know that film had a lot of like directors coming
Move
and going,
through it.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was when Fleming was the director.
Got you.
Anyway, wild. But also, like, can't you see? You can see his work. If I think back on the trolley song and then I think of Singin' in the Rain and Wizard of Oz, I can see the consistent styles.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. All right, that's director and cinematographer.
So the writers for this, it was a collaboration between Adolph Green and Betty Comden. So they had a 6-decade-long partnership that produced some of Hollywood and Broadway's like greatest hits. It's one of the longest running partnerships of a writing team in history. So they were most known for particularly their work with Arthur Freed's production unit at MGM, which is what this musical was as well. A lot of people thought that they were married. They were not. They each were married to separate people and had kids with their partners, but they were a really, really popular lyricist and playwright combination who had a really specific style of comedic timing and writing and like a wit to them. Now, Arthur Freed was the head of like the Freed unit at MGM and was responsible for like the big glossy glamorous musicals, and he sort of conceived this idea of a movie based on back catalogs of songs that were written by himself and Brown. So Arthur Freed called Betty Comden and Adolph Green from New York and to come up with a story to tie all of these songs together and to write the script. So, because a lot of the songs had originally been written during the time when silent films were sort of moving through to talkies and musicals were really popular, they came up with the idea to use these songs as a story that would be set during this transitional period in Hollywood, which is an era that they worked through. So, they were very familiar with how this worked and what actors and producers and studio runners went through during this time. Now, most of the songs had, as I said, been previously written by other people. The ones that Betty Comden and Adolph Green did write were Moses Supposes and, oh God, the one more. There was the You Were Meant for Me. That was it. So Moses Supposes and You Were Meant for Me, I'm pretty sure, were written by that writing duo, and the rest were all songs that had previously existed that were just sort of
just
worked
cobbled them together
into this. They also wrote Make 'Em Laugh in like a really deep collaboration with Donald O'Connor and Gene Kelley, since they were choreographing it, and it was really basically a song written for and built for Donald O'Connor. There is a note that Irving Berlin visited the set one day whenever he heard the sort of a playback of Make 'Em Laugh, and Irving Berlin commented, it's like, that sounds really like my song Be a Clown. And Arthur Freed changed the subject.
Yep.
That's how that got written. Now, I'm going to focus a little bit on Debbie Reynolds. I love Debbie Reynolds. So
I love Debbie Reynolds.
her career spanned like 70 years. She was nominated for a lot of things, but her breakout role was Kathy Selden in Singin' in the Rain. So she was discovered by talent scouts from both Warner Bros. And MGM, who were at like a 1948 Miss Burbank contest, and both companies wanted to sign her for a studio, so they flipped a coin. Wild. So Warner Bros. Won the coin toss, so she was with them for 2 years, but then they stopped producing musicals, so she ended up moving to MGM. There, she regularly appeared in musicals and sort of got a little bit of internal recognition by her song Abba Dabba Honeymoon, and that was sort of the first soundtrack recording that became top of the chart gold record, which reached number 3 on Billboard charts, and because of that, they gave her the co-starring role in Singin' in the Rain. She also then had a starring role, The Unsinkable Molly Brown, which led to nomination for Academy Award for Best Actress. She noted that originally the director didn't want her. He wanted Shirley MacLaine. He told her that she was totally wrong for the part, and then 6 weeks in, he came up to her and said, "I admit that I was wrong. I'm very pleased. You're playing the role very well." So she also headlined for like 10 years, 3 months out of the year. She headlined in Las Vegas's Riviera Hotel doing a live show that was apparently very strenuous. So it was a performing schedule of 2 shows a night for 7 nights a week for 3 months. She said that it was like the toughest kind of show business, but very rewarding. The part of the act was she was noted for doing impressions. So she did like Eva and Zsa Zsa Gabor. She did Mae West, Barbra Streisand, Phyllis Diller, Betty Davis. She did this for like 10 years, which is insane. Once sort of her film and television opportunities sort of started drying up a little bit, she had an opportunity to make her Broadway debut. So she starred in the 1973 revival of Irene with her daughter, Carrie Fisher. Now, when she was asked why it took so long for her to appear on Broadway, she said, mostly because I had 2 kids growing up. I could make movies in Las Vegas and do plays like in Vegas and Los Angeles, and that was very close to my children. Now they are well on their way to being adults. And then there was the matter of being offered a show I felt might be right for me, and I felt Irene was that, and now was the time. Per reports, that production broke records for the highest weekly gross of any musical, and she received a Tony nomination for that. She played the title role in the animated musical Charlotte's Web, so she was the voice of Charlotte in Charlotte's Web. And she originated the song Mother Earth and Father Time. She also played Grace's mother from Will and Grace for like 6 years. And that earned her an Emmy nomination for Outstanding Guest Actress. To talk a little bit about her personal life, she was married 3 times. Her most famous marriage was to singer Eddie Fisher. They became parents of Carrie Fisher and Todd Fisher. They did divorce in 1959 when it was revealed that Eddie Fisher was having an affair with Elizabeth Taylor. And this was a huge scandal. And it also led to the cancellation of the Eddie Fisher television show. Now, Debbie Reynolds in like
Fuck around and find out.
Yeah. In like 2011, she talked on the Oprah Winfrey show. She explained that her and Elizabeth Taylor happened to be traveling on the same ocean liner back when that was a thing, the Queen Elizabeth. This should be a movie in and of itself, in the late 60s, early 70s, and Debbie Reynolds ended up sending a note to Elizabeth Taylor's room, and she sent a note back, and they agreed to have dinner, and it was described as a wonderful evening with a lot of laughs. In 1972, she noted the bright side of the divorce was now, in retrospect, though it was not my will, I think it was probably the best thing to ever happen to me. He gave me 2 great children, and for that I will forever be grateful. Our door is always open to him. I believe in the peaceful coexistence and being friends with the father of your children. On December 23rd, 2016, Debbie Reynolds' daughter, Carrie Fisher, ended up passing, and the next day, Debbie Reynolds was taken to the hospital and suffered a severe stroke and was announced as had passed that same day. So she died the day after her daughter. Todd Fisher later said that Debbie Reynolds had been seriously affected by her daughter's death and that her grief was partially responsible for the stroke. So that's Debbie Reynolds. Her and Carrie Fisher had an incredible relationship. They had houses right next door to each other. There was a documentary that was released, I want to say in 2018 or 19, about their relationship, which is a really great documentary. Highly recommend that as well. But Debbie Reynolds had such an incredible life and an incredible presence within the movie community. Very missed.
Well done. In terms of reviews and receptions, this was a big smashing hit. It was the 10th highest grossing film of the year in the US and Canada, and it is one of the few films that has a 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yes. deserved this time.
What? It was nominated for a bunch of things. It is on a lot of best 100 movies lists. But my favorite thing was that it only got 2 Oscar nominations, one for best score, I believe. But Gene Hagen, who played Lena, was nominated for best supporting actress.
Best.
Which just
So good.
tickles my fancy. Oh, I loved it so much. You want to do some singing and dancing?
Yeah, I have some stuff about that.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I know Debbie Reynolds was dubbed.
For some of it, not all of it.
2 songs were dubbed.
Yes.
I don't understand why.
So
Do you have anything about that?
Yes. So, talking a little bit about the dubbing. So, there's a little bit of a silliness where Gene Hagen, who played Lena Lamont, actually in real life had a very warm, deep, resonant voice. And so in the looping sequence where we see Kathy recording over Lena's voice,
Dialogue?
yeah, over her
Is
dialogue.
that actually
That's
Gene Hagen's
actually
voice?
Gene Hagen's voice. So it's Gene Hagen dubbing Debbie Reynolds dubbing Lena Lamont. So it's like a triple effect.
I remember hearing that and being like, that doesn't really sound like Debbie Reynolds.
Nope.
That's funny.
Yeah. So the song Would You, the singing was Betty Noyes, I want to say her name is pronounced, because she had a deeper, richer singing voice, which matched Gene Hagen's speaking voice, which is what they wanted for that character in the Dancing Cavalier.
Oh.
So they found a singing voice for the song that was particularly in that movie to match what Gene Hagen's voice sounded like, which is what they were pretending Kathy Selden's voice sounded like. But the rest of her songs, so like Good Morning, that was Debbie Reynolds.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, it was literally just because they were pretending that Kathy's voice, she was changing it to be a little bit more deeper and resonant, but her singing voice couldn't quite match that deeper resonance that they wanted, so they got one person in for that one song.
Okay, the thing I read said 2 songs, so maybe it was something that was cut, or maybe that's just wrong.
Or it's like, I think it was, there's like 2 versions. There's Would You, and then there's a Would You reprise. Then there's the You Are My Lucky Star, but I don't know if that was...
But that's, no,
because that sounded like her.
Debbie Reynolds.
Yeah, so it might be the Would You and then the Would You the reprise, because there were 2 times that song
I bet it was
sung.
that.
Yeah.
Other than that, Debbie Reynolds has a great voice, Gene Kelley has a great voice,
Yeah.
Donald O'Connor has a great voice. Like, how dare I have notes?
I have no notes. They were fantastic. They were so silly.
Yeah, their voices mesh really well. That
They
trio.
do. Yes, absolutely.
I feel the same way about dancing. Like,
I
how
have
dare
I have
notes?
nothing to say. Well, so I do want to talk a little bit about the process of this, because
Okay,
it was
yes.
not a happy
It was not smooth sailing.
workspace. Now,
Yeah.
part of that is Gene Kelley was very upset with MGM because MGM had a history of having a really tight leash on the actors that they had under contract, and they had a habit of not lending them out. Now, Kelley was very upset because MGM wasn't lending him out to roles that he wanted. He basically used this to get out of his contract with MGM. So he was so bad in terms of his behavior, not his performance, on set that MGM ended up releasing him from his contract.
Wow.
So that he could get out of MGM. Now, part of that ended up being that he was incredibly aggressive and abusive towards Debbie Reynolds. Now, Debbie Reynolds was 19 years old.
19.
She had never danced before. She was a gymnast, so she did have like physicality and she understood how her body moved in space. And she was reportedly a very, very good mimic physically. So she was able to copy moves and make it look like she was doing what these 2 incredible dancers were doing, especially in like Good Morning, which has the 3 of them tap dancing in unison. Even if she wasn't able to get everything 100% perfectly, it still looked correct. Of course, Gene Kelley ended up redubbing all of her tapping.
Yeah.
There's the story, which a lot of people know, where he had yelled at her so much that like she ended up leaving and she was crying under a piano, and Fred Astaire found her and like was just like, your hard work is worth it. I will work with you on this. Like, let's find a time. We'll go over the moves together. Like Fred Astaire was a nice guy. Debbie Reynolds later said that making this movie and surviving childbirth were the two hardest things that she had ever done. But now, to be fair, Gene Kelley later, decades later, said that he was very sad and like remorseful for his behavior. He was quoted as saying, I wasn't nice to her. It's a wonder she still speaks to me. Just like, yeah. And there is also reports of Donald O'Connor was also under the brunt of Gene Kelley's behavior. And he also, because he was already an established performer and like was famous within his own right, he ended up stepping in sometimes and taking the brunt of Gene Kelley's anger so that Debbie wouldn't be harassed. So he would like pull Gene aside and like let Gene yell at him basically, so that Debbie wouldn't get upset. So it was not a good, healthy, working environment, which is upsetting because the movie itself evokes so much joy, but I guess that just shows what good actors they are because they were having a horrible time backstage, but they still managed to produce this movie that really just sparks so much joy. Yeah, it wasn't a great experience. I mean, like in the Good Morning number, apparently Debbie Reynolds had to be carried to her dressing room because she burst blood vessels in her feet. Like that, she was dancing so hard and so much on feet that were not used to dancing that much. Not great, Dan.
Not great. It's not great, Dan.
One fact that I did have for you, which might make you angry since it's not your favorite sequence, the Broadway ballet sequence took a month to rehearse, 2 weeks to shoot, and cost a fifth of the overall budget.
Why? Does it move the plot forwards?
No.
Because it's entertaining!
Anyway.
I'm so angry right now.
I know. I'm so sorry to end to like leave you on this note. But the dancing was so good.
I was gonna move into gripes with something else, but that might be my
Is that your gripe? That
No, I have another gripe, which is I don't like how the film resolves itself.
It's not a great ending.
When Kathy runs away after being like,
she's like in
the butt
tears,
of the
humiliated.
joke, she's in tears, and John's like, "Stop that woman!" and like doesn't publicly humiliate her, but publicly exposes her as like the person who was behind Lena's voice, and then she just forgives him.
Yeah,
it
that was
been one thing if they had looped her in at the beginning. We were like, you go backstage and sing, and then we're gonna.
I think that's my gripe, because they bully her into going backstage to sing for Lena at the finale, and I feel like if they had just pulled her aside and let her in on the joke, then it would have been fine.
She probably wouldn't have.
Maybe not. She's like a nicer person than those guys are. Yeah.
Yeah, and also, I just felt like they were like, let's squeeze a little bit of extra conflict out of this film.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't like how Dawn handled it. And then he sings at her and she forgives him.
Yeah.
But yeah, that and
Gene Kelley
the
is very
Broadway
charming.
medley. Yeah, that and the Broadway medley are my gripes. If I have moment of joys and I have like a moment of no. Broadway medley.
My giggles is every single one-liner that Donald O'Connor has.
Donald O'Connor had?
It's just like, we've been looking inside every cake in town.
I really appreciated a lot more of the quick, quippy dialogue.
Absolutely.
Because this is such a film of spectacle dancing and singing that sometimes that can get neglected or overlooked. But it's a really good script.
Yes.
Do you have any moments of joy?
The umbrella swinging in a circle, the splashing in the water, like just the singing in the rain, like whole sequence. Like I said, it's like if I ever feel like my joy is a little bit buried in my own emotions, if I just need to pull my joy to the forefront, I watch that.
How did you watch this film? Because I watched it on HBO Max.
Amazon. I rented it because I tried to watch it on the internet and the internet failed me.
My moment of joy is every time I watch this film, I appreciate Lena more.
Oh, she's hysterical.
Jean Hagen's performance as Lena is a shining moment of joy for me.
Absolutely.
She just eats this up. She leaves no crumbs. She goes exactly as far as she needs to. She's so annoying, but it's so funny.
So annoying.
And, like, when I was younger and I watched this, like, Lena's very easy to hate. She's the obvious villain of this.
Yes.
But as I get older and the more times I watch this, I just appreciate her more and more. I don't root for her. She's a bad person. But I appreciate Jean Hagen's performance as Lena.
Oh, yeah.
To the point where the fact that she was nominated for an Oscar for this.
Amazing, stunning, 10 out of 10,
Wild.
love
And
it.
so deserved, so deserved.
Do you have any fun facts?
Fuck, I knew I forgot something.
I have 2, so I can say those while you're looking for one if you like.
Yeah, you do that.
So the last shot of Good Morning, the classic one of them tipping the couch over, took like 40 takes because they kept fucking it up.
Correct me if I'm wrong, or maybe it's just me wildly making assumptions, but it's not that the tipping over, but I think probably what they were fucking up was landing so perfectly next to each other.
Yeah.
Because I could very see them just
Falling on
knocking
each
heads.
other. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ka-dunk. Yeah, for sure. And then the final one is, so before this film, Sid Charisse had appeared in films as like a dance specialty or like a sort of supported player kind of thing. Her performance in this was so incredible that the producer elevated her to star status, and her next film was The Bandwagon the following year in 1953, and she co-starred with Fred Astaire. And that sort of pushed her through to stardom. Also, in their sexy dance while she's in the green, there was one moment that the Hays Code was like, no, too much. And so you can actually
the Hays Code.
Yeah, so you can actually see there's a moment where it's like kind of cut and you're like, that's where it was. I don't know what move y'all did, but the Hays Code was like, this is already a sexy dance. This was too much.
This is funny. Sid Charisse had to be taught how to smoke a cigarette for the Broadway ballet sequence. She'd never smoked.
Oh no. I did know that
silly?
she had to figure out how to dance in heels because she was a ballerina, and so she had never actually really danced in heels, and so she had to like figure that out.
This is just silly. That scarf, Sid Charisse's scarf, is 50 feet of white china silk.
Oh!
50 feet!
50 feet! Wild.
That's it.
Okay.
I'm gonna call that my fun fact.
Cool.
You said your homework was to watch this. I think I agree. I think that's my homework as well.
God,
this
it's
was
just
a
so
big joy.
Joyous. And what a good way to end our season 2.
Wild.
So guys, next time we will be opening season 3 with a favorite of ours in honor of
excited.
in honor of a Broadway show that is closing. So take that as a hint for next.
That's a big hint.
I know.
If you are still here with us, thank you so much for tuning in. This has been 5678, a movie musical podcast. I have been Anna.
I'm still Grace.
That brings us to the end of season 2. Thank you for listening. Take care of yourselves and others. Until season 3. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
5, 6, 7, 8.
There's no business like show business, like no business I know.